What's going on, guys? Spud here, and welcome to episode 57 of the Roundup. Obviously, there was no video last week, for personal reasons. Obviously, I won't be talking about that. But we are going to be doing both like weekends of Call of Duty action. Obviously, there's some stuff to discuss. There's also the first roster change of the season, as unfortunately Legend is out. The whole thing I'm going to talk about in my opinion, with a bit of bias, obviously because he was on Optic's Halo team last year. Some massive snaking drama with CELLIUM versus the Boston Breach as well. We're going to go through all of the games that we've had, and now obviously there is going to be some time off. I think it's like 4 weeks off. Um, so yeah, we're going to have a few weeks off the roundup. Obviously, it should be weekly uploads normally. Just I didn't want to record one last week because of the situation that I had. But we're back now, and we're raring to go. And we've also got the MVP and Rookie of the Year ladders. And I also think after having 2 weekends of COD, it's probably easier to make one. And we'll also do our MVP of the weekend as well. Um, if you do enjoy, please do subscribe to the channel, like the video. It's free, it helps me out a lot. And yeah, let's get into it. So like I said, there's a lot of Call of Duty to round up. I also did watch the Counter-Strike Major. Um, I'm just gonna quickly, obviously, mention that we're not gonna do a video on it. But it was a really good tournament. Obviously, FaZe almost pulling off a historical run, but it was Vitality that win back-to-back majors. But we're not gonna really do any discussion about that. Let's just get into the Call of Duty because that's what people want to see. So, the first game of the season was obviously Riyadh Falcons versus Optic Texas. And this one was won by Optic pretty convincingly. It was a 3-0 win here. If we look at the stats, Mercury's with a 1.8, Shotzi with a 1.5. You know, pretty smooth sailing here. Um, for Optic. They've also updated the website, it looks like. So you've got different VODs. So if you want to watch the VOD, you've got Scump's point of view, you've got Zoomer's point of view. And we might actually use that in some weekends. Now, because there's a lot of games to go through, we're not going to really be looking at any clips. It's mainly just going to be talking this weekend. Like I said, obviously I've got my Rookie of the Year ladder, MVP ladder as well, which we will do at the end. But this was a good start from Optic. Obviously, you never know how. Obviously, their first game of the last season, they lost to Boston Breach. But this was a good series. 1.8 from Mercury, shot to the 1.5, and yeah, pretty convincing win for Optic. Obviously, they needed a good start. No, they beat Breach, didn't they? No, they lost to Breach, and then they won 6 in a row. I'm pretty sure. I can't even remember. It was such a long time ago. And then we had Royal Ravens versus Boston Breach, and going into this, wasn't sure which way it would go, but it was won by the Breach, 3-1 here. Nasty new on the roster with a 1.4. Obviously, he'd be a bit disappointed he's on a roster like this after the season he had on Vancouver Surge. But we know that Nasty is a very good player, and he showed it here. I thought, obviously, Purge had a bit of a rough one on the other side. Slasher, you know, how is he still getting opportunities in the league, people might ask. Well, he's still here now. Obviously, a couple of rookies on this team, so it's going to take the Ravens a bit of time. That is just normal. And then we have Thieves versus FaZe. I was expecting this to be. I had a FaZe win, and it was a 3-0 win here for the Thieves. A Beezy against Simp. The both of them were the best two players in this series, comfortably, statistically as well. But it was a Beezy that had the better of them. Not the best of starts for all four on FaZe. Draza had a really rough series as well. Scrap, surprisingly, having a rough series is very rare for Scrap to be the worst player on the team. But it happened here, but it was a really good win for Thieves against obviously a decent team, so they'll be really happy with that. That was the Friday. I'd say it was a solid Friday. Then we had the Spanish derby, El Clasico of Call of Duty. Well, no, actually, no. El Clasico is FaZe versus Optic. The Spanish derby, Koi versus Heretics, and it was a 3-2 win for Koi, including a 8-0 win in Overload on Exposure. But if we look at the stats, everyone green on the Koi side, everyone red on the Heretic side. Obviously, it was Trex's first CDL series. Real obviously gets a 1.2 against his old team. Yeah, pretty solid series. Insight obviously with a positive rating as well. I would say this was a good series to watch. I will say this now. I didn't watch every single series. Because obviously, like I said, I had some problems, so I didn't watch. I couldn't really. I failed to tune it on Sunday. I don't think I watched any of the games, to be honest. So Sunday's games and then a few of the ones from this weekend as well, I didn't watch. Then we had Surge versus Gentlemates. I expected Gentlemates to win this, and they did. It was a very convincing 3-0 win here. We look at the stats. Gwyn went positive. Uh, Ghosty with a 1.53. We're going to talk about Ghosty, because he's been really good so far this season. Obviously, I know that it's only been three. They've only played 3 matches, Gentlemates, but yeah, they look good. So obviously, we're going to talk about Surge when we get to their third series that they lost. But this was a pretty good showing here from Gentlemates. Obviously, we're expecting big things from them this season. They've built a really nice roster. They won Ksan Showdown 8. You know, they look solid. I think they're going to have a good year. I think I predicted them to win a major. And then we have G2 versus Cloud9, and this was a map 5. G2 though do take it 3-2. The SMG's working wonders for G2. On the other side, the SMG of Afro played pretty well here, but it's not meant to be here. G2 with a good result. I think they needed that. Those are the type of games where even though it's only the first split of the season, they're the 10 points. The 10 points are massive for these teams that are going to be in that battling for champs spot, because obviously I can't even remember who I predicted not to make champs, but I'm pretty sure it was Surge, Ravens, Cloud9 and G2. But obviously, like I said, it's still early days, so we don't really know what's going to happen. So we had Sunday, and we started with Riyadh Falcons versus Thieves, and this was a 3-1 win for the Thieves. Except the map one, it was a pretty straightforward series. Kismet had a rough one. Scrap was playing way better by the looks of it. 14,000 damage, and he got the MVP. Did drop a point 4 in the S&D. They won 6-0, but he only dropped the 2 kills in that S&D. But yeah, that's a good showing for Thieves. And then we had Gentlemates versus FaZe. This was always going to be a good matchup. But it was a Neslaw from FaZe Vegas, including a 6-0 in the final S&D. Draza with a bit of a rough one, but O4 and Simp showing what they're made of. A really good series from FaZe. A huge 10 points for them. And I think after how the Thieves series went, it showed that they were still a top team. Because FaZe had a really tough 3 games to start with. You know, they had to play Thieves, Gentlemates and Koi. Like, they didn't get an easy-ish schedule to start with. Yeah, their final games, I assume, will be easier. I've not really looked at who... The only teams... I don't know who anyone's playing, to be honest. I forgot who Optic have. Anyway, Optic played G2 here. This is one of the only Optic games I've not watched in a long time. They actually lost the first map, but after that were solid. Dashi and Mercules, Optic's best 2 players so far this season. Have you say down below. But yeah, apart from the first map, this was pretty good for Optic. Again, you know, keeping up that start. They are the favourites for the championship this year, and they're carrying on as they left off. And then we go into this week's games. So we had Riyadh Falcons versus the Carolina Royal Ravens, and this was a 3-0 win here for the Falcons. Much better from them. CELLIUM with a 1.55. Everyone positive on that side. On the other side, negatives galore. Yeah, not a great start for Ravens. They've only played 2 series though. compared to some team. Most Falcons have played 4, most teams have played 3. So Ravens have definitely got this time to improve in this like gap of play. This is their time to like start to get a move on, basically. Because it's still early doors, I get that, but they don't want to be chasing. Then we had our first reverse sweep of the season. It was Boston Breach with a 3-2 victory over G2 Minnesota. A huge result here for them. Snoopy and Nasty, definitely the best 2 players. I like this Boston Breach team, but they are the best 2 players on this team. This was a really fun series to watch. The map 1 was really close, but it was won by G2. Yeah, I think that Boston look good. I really do. I think that I almost didn't put them and Falcons. I was unsure if they'd get top 8. I'm pretty sure I didn't put Boston not to make champs. I hope I put them to make champs, but I can't remember. In all honesty. Then we had Surge versus Koi, and apart from the map 2, this was a blowout. Koi 3-0. Again, if we look at the stats, Abe 0.95 most damage. He actually put up a fight. The rest of them didn't. Lunas, I know everyone talk about Legend, but I think Lunas is just not good enough for the Call of Duty League. I think he obviously had a tough time on LAG last year. This is just looking very bad for him. Joe Deceives here with the best performance statistically and the most damage. At plus 29, you can't complain there. But I think that Legend has been singled out unfairly, and we're going to talk about the Legend situation when we get to the other series that Vancouver Surge played at the weekend. So then we have Gentlemates versus Thieves, and I predicted LA Thieves to win this one. Little did I know that they would get absolutely thumped here. Kenny drops a 0.56, Abizi a 0.68, Hydra a 0.71, and we're going to have to talk about the LA Thieves as well because there's people saying that they should make a roster change and Kenny should be out the team already. Dan Ghosty with a 2.14. What on earth is he cooking right now against his old team? He looks phenomenal this season. But basically, in the Challengers Cup this weekend, it was won by Omit Brooklyn, and there was a player that I'd never heard of before. He's an 18-year-old German player called Aluka. And Aix on the flank has told LA Thieves and Scrap to sign Aluka. People think that this could be another Mercury situation where, you know, this really good youngster comes in challenges. If a top team takes a chance on him, he'll thrive like Mercury's. And Aluka, could he be the one to make Thieves good? Look, I think Kenny had a bad series here, but I don't think you should be dropping Kenny after 3 series when you won 2 of them and he played quite well in the 2 that he won. But obviously that's someone to keep an eye out on. Aluka, he's called. But yeah, Gentlemates with a good start to the season. Neptune, I think, has been really good again. I know that series he didn't do as good as he normally would, but he still put up good numbers. Optic. Optic. You got me nervous here because of the map 4, but Optic do take this one 3-2. Wasn't the best of the series. Mercules and Dashi again being Optic's best players this season. Rencor had a very nice series. Rencor and Super, I think this was the first series this season where they genuinely looked quite good. Especially Rencor. But Optic had a nice lead. Then they just managed not to get that last hard point, and then Miami played perfect. COD took us to a map 5. Optic were able to get the win. Obviously, I've got my Optic jersey on. Not my jersey, sorry, my back-to-back champs. I've only just recently acquired that. But you couldn't even see that, I don't think. But yeah, this one was won by Optic. It was a very good series, so credit to Miami. I think Optic didn't play well here, but they still managed to get the job done, which I think is a positive. Again, though, Mercules and Dashi have been really good for Optic this season. And obviously, you'll see where I put them in my MVP place. And obviously, it's early days, like I said. So, now the next 2 series are the 2 that we're going to talk about the most. So we have Vancouver Surge versus Cloud9 New York. This was a close series on the scoreboards, but it's a 3-0 here for Cloud9. Legend, 5,500 damage, a 0.64, and unfortunately for now, the end of his Call of Duty League career. But he will be back, and rightly so. I want to give Afro a bit of credit. I think he's actually had a few good series, and he is unlucky not to make my top 10 on the MVP ladder, to be honest. He's actually doing quite well. But we're going to talk about the Vancouver Surge situation. So I think Abe has done okay, but again, he hasn't done as well as he did on that when he played for Koi at EWC. Obviously, he is a rookie still. This is his rookie year in the Call of Duty League. He's actually never played in the Call of Duty League because the EWC is not the Call of Duty League. Gwyn is a good player that we know that. Legend, it's just not worked out. And Luna's, this is one good series he had. They lost 3-0. I still don't think he's good enough for a CDL team. But the Legend situation is very disappointing. And the reason is because he's a young player. He's come from a different esport. He needs time. Yeah, has he been chucked in the deep end by being put on a CDL team straight away? Maybe, but that was his choice. You know, like, I think that he deserved the opportunity. Personally, I think he deserved to play the first split. First full split. If the improvements weren't showing, that's it. He is going to be on the Vancouver Surge bench, I believe. He hasn't been released. He's going to be on the bench. Now, the replacement is going to be one of Bush Gaming's own, and Gwyn is going to have his SMG duo from last year. TJ Halley is going to be back in the league. I've had to defend TJ Halley on Twitter because some people think that it's friendship cheese, whatever, but TJ Halley had a good year last year. And I think he deserves to be in the league. Obviously, there was a whole Royal Ravens EWC disaster class, and then he obviously was on the Falcons for EWC. Didn't go great, but obviously was never going to be a permanent fix in that team. I just think that they should have stuck with it. Yeah, they're getting embarrassed. Like, I know that, but I think it's a bit harsh. And obviously, we'll go to challenges, and hopefully in challenges he can improve a lot, and then he'll get another opportunity. He will get another chance as long as he shows that he can perform at that level. He will get another opportunity, but it will take him most of the year to get another chance. And unfortunately, that's just a harsh reality. Vancouver have obviously had a great season last year, 4 grand finals. Yeah, they lost them all, but you know they ended up taking Optic to grand finals of champs, grand finals of EWC. They had a great run. Obviously, yeah, the roster's completely different now, but yeah, I think that Surge. I think they will play better with TJ Halley in the team. I think they need to get a different player for Lunas, and then I think their team would be decent. I really hope I put Surge not to make champs, but I don't know if I did or not. But yeah, good result for Cloud9, of course. We kind of forgot about that. Now we have to talk about the Falcons breach series because of the snaking drama with CELLIUM. He went on a call with someone from Team Falcons after and basically said that they were doing it to him in the first map, so he just decided to do it. This is what Nasty tweeted. Yo, at CELLIUM, play the game properly, you weirdo. It's every year with you. He was clearly not happy. A lot of people not happy with this situation, but it is a Riyadh Falcons win, 3-1 here. This hard point though, which Falcons won to seal out the series, is obviously where the drama's at. CELLIUM did have a good series himself though, 1.39. Snoopy with a 1.06 on the other side. But yes, snaking is not allowed in the league. It hasn't been allowed for a few games now. Will there be a punishment for it, like for breaking a GA? Potentially, but we'll have to see. I think that the whole situation is a bit shit. I don't think CELLIUM should be snaking if it's not allowed. But if people want to snake, let them snake. But I do think snaking makes it a bit shit. Final 2 series of the weekend, and Miami Heretics did finally win a series. Here it was a 3-2 win over Cloud9, and every pair positive on the Heretics, which is good to see. Afro was neutral, everyone else negative on the Cloud9 side. This, again, Cloud9 aren't going to be a great team this year. They're going to be okay, but these are the type of games where they need to be getting those 10 points. And to seal off our weekend of games, we had a banger. We had Koi versus FaZe. And this one was pretty close, map 2 and 3. It was a good series. It was a good series, but it was won by FaZe Vegas in the end. It was a good series from Simp, I think, I think Simp's been good this year. Obviously, they haven't... I get that they haven't won all 3 series, but obviously against Thieves, he played well. He didn't have any help. But that is that is the first 2 weeks of gameplay. So this is the current standings after yeah, this is just the current standings. So Ravens have played 2 games, Falcons have played 4, everyone else has played 3. So far, I would say the teams that have impressed me the most are Optic and Gentlemates. But we'll have to just see what happens after Christmas and New Year. Obviously, I'm recording this on Tuesday. Christmas is 9 days away. I'm not really looking forward to it, to be honest. I just want December to be over. The first game's on the 9th of January, so 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks then until we come back. Wait, have we got a 2-game weekend? A 2-game weekend, and they are pretty shit games. That's not the way we want to start it off. But hey ho. Right. Let's do, for the first time this season, our ladders. So I'm going to be honest with you, the Rookie of the Year ladder at this moment in time, you could have put any of the top 5 in 1, 2, and 3. There were 6 rookies so far. It's yeah, it's kind of just like put anyone where you want type of thing at the moment. I'm sure that will obviously change when the season gets a bit further on. But hopefully we will get a few more rookies so we can have more of a Rookie of the Year race, because so far, none of them have impressed me. But we are going to go with our Rookie of the Year ladder to start with. So we have gone for, and I put Mamba first. I didn't honestly know who to choose. I've put Mamba first, then Craze, then Abe, and then I've put Trakes. I think Trakes could have I think Abe and Craze probably could have been different way around, but obviously Sergio on 3 hadn't really impressed me. And then I've put Lurks in 5th, and then Legend in 6th. I think Lurks obviously isn't much different from Craze, but I just didn't know where to put anyone really on the Rookie of the Year ladder. It was difficult. So yeah, I've had to just go with my gut really on this one, but yeah. And then we've got our MVP ladder. Now, that is our starting ladder for week 2. Ghosty is my MVP of the weekend, by the way. That performance against Thieves. So we'll do it to 10-1. So I've put Shotzi at number 10. It was a throw between Shotzi and Real, and I went for Shotzi. I've put Snoopy at 9, Joe Deceives at 8, Nasty at 7, Sib at 6, Neptune at 5, Simp at 4, Dashi in 3rd, Mercules in 2nd, and Ghosty in 1st. Mercules, and I think I'm happy with this list at the moment. I think that Ghosty deserves to be at number 1, Mercules deserves to be at number 2. It was a toss-up. It was a toss-up between Dashi, Simp, and Neptune for 3rd. To be honest, they were the 3 that I was considering. But like I said, when we get to week 3, before the major, the MVP ladder will change constantly because it's early in the season. But once obviously we have major 1, we have whoever MVP is at major 1, as long as they've played well in the online split, will most likely be number 1 going into the second split. But yeah, that is our MVP ladder so far. I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's a fair ranking. I think I'm genuinely really impressed by how Ghosty started the season off. Yeah, it's only been a couple of series, but that 2.14 is just mental. Like, it is absolutely mental. I don't think people understand how, like, against Thieves as well. But yeah, that is actually the end, because like I said, um we're not doing uh like Rookie of the Year. Sorry, no. We're not doing. I don't even know what I'm fucking talking about. We're not talking about the CS major. We're not talking. We haven't done much review of the actual games. We've just like looked at the stats and that because I didn't watch them all this weekend. Last weekend, sorry. But yeah, we'll have a few weeks of the roundup. That also means that there won't be any YouTube videos until after Christmas, New Year. So I would like to just say, obviously December's been a pretty shit month for me. I'm gonna just quickly mention my 2025. May to October was some of the best months I've had in my life. I absolutely loved it. Um, yeah, it's not as good now. But I just want to say overall 2025 has been a nice year for me. Yeah, it's ended on a shit ending, but hey ho. I just want to wish you all a Merry Christmas if you celebrate. If you don't, obviously have a nice rest of the year, and I hope 2026 goes as well for you as I hope it does for me. Obviously I'm going to Amsterdam in February, which will be really nice. So there won't be an episode of the Roundup that week. That's a lie, there will be, because I'm going Thursday to Sunday, so there will be an episode. I won't be able to watch any of the COD on that weekend, though, because I'm not going to be watching that. I mean, I did watch Champs 2020. I was away once with my parents, and Champs was happening that year. It was the year where, it was the year the last time that who won? Was it, New York Subliners? What the fuck was the year when was it Subliners year when they won? Yeah, it was because Optic won the last two after. So 2023 when Subliners won on MW2. That was I watched Champs on my phone in a holiday park, which was really nice to watch. It was a lovely holiday as well. But yeah, sorry, I'm just waffling now. Thank you so much. I'll put this out on Wednesday, so like tomorrow at 6 p.m. Make sure you like if you did enjoy. Let me know what you thought of the season so far down below. And enjoy the rest of your year. And I wish you all the very best. See you later.